Welcome back to Lynch Paints, where Lynch, will be showing you guys how to paint this chunky lad, the Leviathan Dreadnought from the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness series. If you haven't subscribed already, then just take 2 seconds at your time, quickly hit that little subscribe button down below. That'll be amazing. That will help me out so much. So, now with all that out of the way with, let's get on with today's video. So then, what we're going to do, first step of course, is to spray our models in a black acrylic primer. And then we're going to move on to the next step, which is, of course, we're going to start out with looking at the metalwork. So for that, we're going to need a nice silver. So I thought some Iron Warriors and a nice fluffy brush. Give it a good shake. And we're just going to apply a little bit of this onto some tissue. Work it in to brush off the majority. I'm going to take our model and we're going to just go over all the metalwork areas, like so, and just bring out all the metal areas. So it's claws, and we're just going to kind of do this nice and quick. Move that way. I'm trying a new angle. Thought then that way you can better see what I'm doing. He says doing it off camera. Next, we're going to move on to using a little bit of the good old granite steel, and this I'm just going to use just a little bit of, just to make some of the areas of the metalwork just stand out a little bit. So we're going to run along some of the edges of the blades here. Again, just wiping off the majority from our brushes. Just going to pick out a couple of areas like these, the sides of the exhaust covers, and also the top of the exhaust as well, because we're going to weather them down later on. But I want to make them stand out more so then when we put on some of the weathering powder, it's going to stand out even more so. Now that our metalwork is applied, we're just going to add a wash of Agrat's Earthshade just over some of the areas, just to make them a little bit more grimy. So I'm going to predominantly use it over the areas of these arm joints and most of the engine work at the back. This will add a nice warmth to our metalwork and make it look quite grimy as well. So while that's drying, we're going to go over to the body armour. So we're going to do our classic Night Lord blue and Abaddon black combo, starting out with probably a 60-40 ratio of black to Cantor blue. I'm going to want to water our paints down so they're nice and fluid for our blending. Then we're just going to paint all the panels that we can see with this, and then we're going to slowly build the colours up to a lighter blue. I'm also looking at where the light's going to be hitting the model in various angles. So like I'm just going to go all the way down this edge here and then maybe up to that here for the rest of the panels. So bear that in mind. A great tip would be just look at where the light's hitting your model from your desk lamp and then building it up from there. And now at this point with the layering, I'm using pure Cantor blue. And again, just keeping up with working in smaller and smaller areas as we build up this blend. So that's the armour pretty well done with our wet blending. It's turned out quite well. So I'm going to mix up some Cantor blue and Thousand Suns blue, or a dark blue with a lighter blue, whichever colour system you're using. I'm just going to thin it down. I'm just going to get a nice medium brush and just edge highlighting the majority, or just the areas that you feel like will be the most impactful. Don't have to do the whole thing. I don't generally edge highlight the whole model. A, because it takes a lot of time, and B, I feel like you don't have to. So just by picking out a few areas, you can make it stand out really nicely. And I think I might do the head in a black, but I'm just going to highlight it just a little bit with very dark grey, just to pick out where the lights go into it. And then we'll probably move over to some of the trimming, some of the little extra bits. Alright, so now we're just going to look at our carapace weapons, so the Volkite chargers, or I think they're culverins, not too sure. No, I think they're chargers. And we're going to paint these with a mixture of warpstone bronze and some retribution armor gold. Gonna go maybe about 50-50 on this. And we're just gonna roughly do the ends of the weapons. Then we're just gonna mix in just some pure gold, just to do the very edge. And we want to do this roughly, as it is just, of course, a weapon. It's been fired a lot, so there's going to be some weathering. It's not going to be neat in any way, shape or form. And then we'll move on to the energy bits. And so for our energy coils, do them in a nice green. It's going to start out with this Caliban green. It's a nice dark colour to start out with. And then similarly to the armour, we're just going to work our way up to a lighter green, but hopefully not in as many stages, as this should be a quick process to get this guy on the tabletop. In some moot green. And then we're just going to pick out the edges, the raised areas, just like so. And then what I'll do, I'll just water this down. I'm just going to feed it just into the end here. Water down some more. Just to make it look like it's glowing out from the ends. And then just for that final little bit, we're just going to mix a little bit of white and just run it along the very middle. And then whilst we're using the green, I'm just going to do the same thing, same technique with his eyes. Then for these little searchlights, I'm just going to use a watered down red mixed with a little bit of black. Just on there. So I've gone over his crown in the same mixture as we did the Volkites at the front, and now I'm just going over all the rivets with a little brush, picking them all out, and then we're going to move on to the lightning. Alright, so now we're moving on to the lightning stage, the lightning round, where we're going to take our Thousand Suns blue, or I got it a mid-tone blue. We're not going to go too mad with this, but we are just going to put on a couple of streaks here and there, so just really go with wherever you want to, really. So I'm going to go for, let's go with one. So now we're getting our finer brush, some of this Fenrisian grey, or just any kind of like light, very light blue. Gonna have it nice and watered, nice and thinned down. And then we're going to pick our lightning bolt. I'm going to focus the camera. There we go. That's better. Pick our lightning bolt. And then we're just going to use short controlled lines. Just like that. And then if you're struggling for inspiration for lightning, best bet, Google it. Just Google lightning strikes, bolts, that sort of thing. Because then you'll see that there are, more often than not, loads of little forks that jump out and go in all manners of directions. So now we're going to add in a tiny bit of white, but this is going to be placed where the lightning sort of meets, where it's more concentrated. And I'm just going to just add a little tiny bit, and this will help to elevate the glow of it. And then down like the main bit, you can just kind of dot them in just to show the intensity of it. Now it's time we move over to, of course, some blood effects for our lovely Night Lord friend. So I'm just going to grab a really ratty brush and dip it in a little bit, and then we're just going to flick nice and quick. And then lastly, for a little bit of weathering powder, we need to take some of this black soot, and then we're just going to apply it quite liberally onto the exhausts. Alright, so he's pretty much finished, so all I'm going to do now is attach him to his base and he's ready for the battlefield. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Leviathan Dreadnought from the Warhammer 30k series. I've really been looking forward to making this video, as this is one of my all-time favourite models from the Horus Heresy range, and with those claws he just fits in perfectly into my Night Lord's army. And I all hope that you have learned something new today, and if you have, that would be fantastic if you could let me know by just hitting the like button and commenting down below. And if you haven't subscribed already, then do take 2 seconds out of your time and just click that little subscribe button. Just give it a little push for me. That'd be fantastic. So, there will be still images of this beautiful model over at my Instagram page at Lynch Paints. And if you fancy picking up one of these models yourself, I do have an affiliate link for Wayland Games down in the description below, and you can save yourself a little bit of money as you do so. And without further ado, I thank you ever so much for coming and watching. Stay safe, stay beautiful, and we'll see you next time.